Hello, everyone. And for all of those who celebrate Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. I'll tell you, I was almost thinking about just not going live today because I figured I'd probably have a really small audience. Not everybody celebrates Mother's Day, not everybody has family to celebrate it with. We don't really do much ourselves, but it is possible my babies, my boys might show up at some time today. So that was the other thing. It's like they don't always tell you. The youngest one, he's working out of town, so it's hard to say when he'd be home anyway. But the other one, they're the ones most likely to just kind of show up and say, "Hey," like they did on my birthday. So that could happen, but they should still be in church right now. So I'm guessing that if they are going to stop by, it might be for, I might have a good hour. But if they do happen to stop by, then I will be cutting it short. So that's why I didn't want to pick a specific topic and, get into the topic and then have people show up and I'm like, oh, sorry guys, I got to go. But I still started a backup, did a reboot stream and got it ready to go just in case we're, having a good time. Maybe we do get into an interesting topic and I don't get interrupted, but I do get cut off. Then, yeah, I still have a backup stream, which I'll probably not use. But I thought, well, I'm here. It's not like I can't be doing other things, but I'm here. And I figured if other people are there and they're just, wanting to hang out for a bit, here I am. So if you guys got questions or comments for me, put them in chat because I'll probably be paying more attention to the chat today. It's unlikely I'll be taking today's video and making a separate video out of it, but who knows? Who knows where everything will go? But I did definitely come in early because a couple of reasons. One, because that just not being sure what's happening. If somebody may or may not stop by, like I say, I never know. Because I always say, hey, don't do anything for me for Mother's Day. It's not a big deal to me. But it's usually the wives that tell the husbands that we should do this for your mom because they're mothers too, right? So, and that's fine. That's fine. It's all cool. We all appreciate being appreciated, but being a mom was just my job. So, I don't expect any, thing fancy. It's my job. So I did go ahead and write down a few things to talk about, just for fun. But it rained all night here in my part of Florida. Is that unusual for it to rain all night there? I mean, it's not unusual here. We've been getting rain off and on, but again, of course, that's not unusual for here. It's not unusual for it to rain here for a week straight or more. It was needed. That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's always nice. It's really nice to get that rain, not just if your whole area needs it anyway, because it's getting too hot, dry, and there's concern for fires. But even here, because we can actually have a stretch of dry weather during gardening season or garden season. And it's nice when we get rain because it refills our rainwater tanks. It means we don't have to water that day. It's nice. So, but it's also a little frustrating when it's like, oh man, I was going to go out there and do this and that today. And then you don't. Yeah, it's kind of gray here now. It started out sunny and now it's gray and a little sprinkly. But again, that's normal for here. Crow Lady says, first time being able to chat. Hi, everyone. I usually watch through TV, but I'm a bit slow with the tech. Glad to be here. I get that. Well, I can actually be pretty techie, and I taught myself most everything that I do on the computer, but there's still always new stuff. And it's like, what? I don't know what this is. What's this new stupid app that everybody's using? I don't know what that is. Heidi, you are awesome. And my first stop for info. Thank you for that, Crow Lady. Would be lonely without you. Well, I'm glad that I came on live then, just for you, Crow Lady. So, that was the other thing I was thinking is that it's like, man, just because it's Mother's Day and other people may be doing stuff, it doesn't mean everybody is able to do that or has family to spend time with. And so, Patrick's busy today. And like I say, it's just not something we make a big deal about. And so I'm here doing, besides Saturday's our day of rest and Sunday is a day of work. I gotta work on Sunday. I can't just take another day off. So, but yesterday was nice because we have, it's kind of a mix. We have it's usually the third Saturday of the month, but they switched it up this month because there's some men's conference coming up. And so some of the guys are going to be gone. But anyway, there's this older guy who's a family member, who's a pastor, preacher. I think he's retired. He's he's almost 90. And he'll come out from the Seattle area-ish. I can't remember exactly where, Bremerton or something, once a month. And then he'll do the teaching. And then we have a potluck afterwards. And that's kind of nice for him and the guy that drives him out, the younger guy, because then they get to eat something before they have to leave and head back to the city. So, I made an apple pie. I found I still had a bag of apples with the rhubarb in it and the sugar and the flour all ready to go from our own tree. And in the freezer that I'd put up a couple years ago. So I'm like, oh, good. I can finally use up this last bag of apples because I'll be putting up a lot more. I dehydrate a lot. You can make pies out of the dehydrated apples, but it's also nice having those like that and just kind of having it ready to go. So by the time you get your crust made, you pull out the freezer. By the time you get your crust made, it's thawed and ready to pour into the pie pan. And then you put your crust on top. And so it was pretty easy. I got that done on Friday. So yeah, it's nice. He does tend to like to talk for a long time. So it's nice to have that potluck right afterwards. And then you don't have to worry about eating when you get home or how late it takes you, how long you stay and visit. But yeah, I mean, it's nice because then it gives us more time to just fellowship. And not that we don't do that anyways. But I know I've shared this before, but it's just been a real blessing finding this group because there's just a lot that we can, we have in common and we can fellowship and, we get a lot out of the teaching, but then there's this time of just afterwards where you're just visiting and you find that, someone else is going through a hard time that you were once going through and you're able to kind of give them hope that you can get through it. And then you're going through a hard time and, so they're praying for you and, it's really a blessing. It's encouraging, and we need that. I believe that that right there is one of the several reasons why Paul that said, do not forsake the gathering of the brethren, is because we need that time of encouragement, of knowing that we're not alone, not just in our walk of faith, but also in just some of the struggles that we deal with in life, generally speaking, but also to keep each other accountable. The more that we're, because the more that we can interact with people who are of the same mindset, the more we help keep each other on track. And when we try to go it alone, and I know this because, through experience, because we were without a fellowship at all for several years. I mean, we did pretty good considering, but, it keeps you more motivated when you have other people that you can meet in person and talk to and encourage each other. So it is necessary. But sometimes it can be a long wait. I know I've had people tell me, it's like, I'm still looking for a good fellowship around here. I get it. I think it was 2013 or 2014 when I finally just had to leave the church I was in. There was just too much I just couldn't agree with. and I knew God was leading me somewhere, and I somewhere else, but I thought it would be like right away. Nope, it wasn't until this past year that we found. Well, we found our those friends, and we spent a lot of time with them. We kind of grew through them, but there was not like a set um, fellowship, like a church kind of thing. Where this place was, this family has had theirs going for many years, and so it's more established. You sing songs, you pray, and so that was more what we needed. But if it hadn't have been for this, our friends, we wouldn't have come. That was a stepping stone to get us where we're at now, and so it was good, especially after all these years of just being without a church family. It was definitely needed. Anyway, so enough of that, because I know not everybody that comes in here are believers, and I don't. It's not so much I'm worried about offending people, because I'm going to talk about my faith, is who I am. But at the same time, I don't want people to feel like, oh, I didn't come in here to, I want to talk about gardening and stuff. We talk about all those things. So thank you for those of you who are not believers that put up with it, instead of being like somebody who I came across today, that I don't want to hear that bull about your religion. It's like, well, goodbye. Delete. I didn't even say anything to him. I'm getting better at just deleting and not replying and being snarky, like I really want to be. But I got several people who are pagans and atheists that, they don't believe the way I do, but they're very encouraging, and they still support me, and they put up with me talking about my faith. And you know what? I really, really appreciate that. I just want to say that. And yeah, but I also don't want to wear you out on talking about my faith all the time either. But that's also to address and encourage the people who follow me that are believers. So I am still going to talk about that. But anyway, let's talk about garden stuff for a bit. Let's see, we go to my parents' house Sundays for lunch, extended family, siblings, grands, nieces, nephews. Then I hop on here. Fun stuff. Our family, even that which is here in town, is a little spread out. We're all kind of in different stages. One son, I don't even know if he believes at all. The other one is going to the church that I left a while back. And, I'm glad they're in church. I'm glad the grandbabies are in church. And, I think they're doing a good thing. It's just, that's not where I'm meant to be. Anyway. Yeah. So, I want to talk a little bit about garden related stuff, but first, I have to start off, because this is so frustrating and I feel terrible. I have a confession to make. So you remember when I was talking about the lovage and the arnica seeds, and I was all excited. It's like, wow, how is it I ended up with so many seeds? I didn't think I saved that many seeds. And I planted some, and then I took the rest, and I was selling some of what I had left. I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. I had that many seeds. Well, guess what? Those weren't all lovage and arnica seed. Somehow, the reason I had so many seeds, I knew I'd only saved a little bit, because I wanted to make sure I could get more plants going this year, just in case. It looks like what must have happened somewhere along the way is I don't even know how, but it looked like the seedlings I had coming up from what I planted looked like it was all lemon balm. They all look the same. And I'm like, that is not arnica, and that is not lovage for certain. I got one lovage that came up, and I didn't see any arnica coming up. Not that it's a big deal to me, because now I have tons coming up in my garden. So I'm like, yay, I didn't have to worry about it anyway. But now I feel bad, because some people were buying the arnica and lovage seed. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go throw out all of that seed, because I don't know what all's mixed up in there, and then collect fresh seed and start over. I have no idea how, assuming again that it's lemon balm seed that got in there. I don't know how that happened. The only thing I can think is somehow the lemon balm container got tipped over and spilled into those other containers, but it's so weird. It's just really weird. So I got to toss all that. And then anybody who bought arnica and lovage seed from me and they end up getting lemon balm, I'm going to either send them out some new packs once I have them, at my cost, or refund them their money, because I just feel terrible. That's never happened in all the years I've been selling seed that I know of. So I'm like, and I'm looking at these seeds. I'm like, well, they all, I got a magnifying glass and I'm like, I guess they all kind of look the same or similar, but I'm looking closer. I'm like, well, it kind of seems like they look a little different. I don't know. That was really frustrating. And so for those of you, if anybody's in here and they're seeing this and you ended up with bad seed, I'll say this again in the next this and that I shoot, which I won't be shooting until next week. So it won't be in tomorrow's. I meant to say it in the one that's publishing tomorrow and forgot. So Crow Lady, you planted those? Are you talking to me? Or are you talking to somebody else? I'm wondering if you were one of those that bought some of those seed. If it's all, if that's, let's see, you'll know it's lemon, but I couldn't smell any lemony scent on it, but the plants were so young. But as the more they grew, the more it looked like lemon balm to me. And that was the only thing I could think of it would have mixed with. Oh, you're talking about mullein. Okay. I just want to say, because it could be that some people might plant the seed and get lemon balm and arnica, or lemon balm and lovage, since I did get one lovage. But I don't know. It's so weird. I was so upset when I'm looking at these plants going, oh no, I sold seed to people out of the same container that I got these seeds from. And they're probably going to end up with lemon balm or whatever this is. I mean, maybe a lemon balm doesn't really get that scent to it. And I mean, I was even tasting it and it's like, what is this? Didn't taste or smell like lemon balm, but it looked like it. So I don't know. Anyway, either way, somewhere along the way, I made a mistake and I got to fix it. And I feel so I'm not selling any more of that. And yeah, mystery pack. I'll just open up all those packs and I'll just throw the seed out, throw out all the other seed, and then I'll just start over. Because I already do sell lemon balm seed separately. But it'll just have to wait until fall. And yeah, like I said, I don't think that's ever happened before. So yeah, there's that. But then if you saw my post on my main channel, today was the first day collecting my marshmallow leaves. I'm like, I better do this now. It's best with like marshmallow and certain most other flowering herbs like that you collect the leaves and stuff before it starts before it starts flowering, because you're going to get a lot more leaves and it will just fill back in again. In fact, you'll probably get a lot more flowers as a result too. So I've just been cutting some of the tops or even the whole stalks all the way down to the ground. It'll get more. And then taking the leaves. So I've got I have both dehydrators running today. So I got one half full of marshmallow and comfrey is the other half. And then the other one is valerian and nettle. There we go. He will buy some surprise seeds. Oh, I feel bad, especially since I'm not even absolutely certain it's a lemon balm. It must be, because lemon balm and mojito mint can look very, very similar, but I've yet to collect a mojito mint and get some good seeds. So I don't know. I don't think it was a mojito. It didn't smell or taste like mojito mint either. So it's so strange. So frustrated over that. But here's something exciting. So it was about a week ago. I think I was telling you I planted some of that einkorn, organic einkorn seed that I got from Azure Standard, because I just have a small patch. It's like a 4x4 patch in my main garden. My purpose is, I mean, I know that's not enough to grow, to get enough flower to get us through a year, my purpose is I don't want to fill up my whole garden with that when I got other things I'm growing, in our small area. My purpose is to try it, see if it'll even grow well here. And if it does, then, and I'm too, maybe I can't get wheat grains or my barley grains, then we can start growing them at our bigger piece of property and just till up a big section and have our own little wheat fields. And next year I was going to do it this year too, but I decided I'll wait until next year. Next year I'm going to try barley and see how that does. And one thing that's interesting about barley that I learned recently is that it doesn't require as much nutrients in the soil as wheat does. It can actually grow in pretty poor soil, which was why the medieval peasants grew a lot of barley, because they didn't, it just grew well for them. But I like barley. I like the taste of it. Mary suggested selling them at a reduced price, mystery seeds. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel uncomfortable with that. I guess if people are willing to buy them, I could do that. But I would feel a little weird. I don't know, just because I can't guarantee what's in there. As I don't know. When I first got my own land, I planted a whole bunch of different stuff, and whatever lived, I planted more of. There you go. Well, see, and that's the thing. It's like you're never going to know how well. I mean, you can talk to local people and get an idea of what they grow and what does well, but not everybody's going to has tried growing all the things that you want to try. And maybe in your little area, maybe it will, or your own garden is going to be a little bit different. So I really wasn't sure, because in Washington State, there are wheat fields, but they're all on the east side of the mountain range, not on the west side, not that I know of. So at any rate, what I was going to say is that little patch, it is full of sprouts. I mean, they're that tall now already. They're just like shooting up everywhere. And I'm like, yes. So we'll see. It'll be exciting to see what happens. And then I'm really looking forward to, I'm hoping I get some full heads of grain, and then I can, we'll do the whole thing, the threshing and all that, and then grinding it and see how that works for us. Because einkorn, one of the reasons I want to try that is not only because it's an ancient grain and it's a lot healthier for most people, because it's lower in gluten, or the gluten in it is easier for people to digest because it's one of the originals. But what was I going to say? Oh, because it's expensive. I've only bought it once, as far as bought it to use in my breads, and I did use it. I just bought a small bag, but it's like, man, this stuff is really expensive in comparison to buying the organic hard white wheat or the organic barley. So big difference. I'm like, if I'm going to do the einkorn, I'd rather just grow it myself and save myself some money. But yeah, I mean, whether you've been gardening forever or you're new to it, just that's kind of what I did the first year we really got into it. Was I just planted a whole bunch of stuff. Didn't really do anything into the soil. Just nothing. Just put stuff in and just watch what things did. Wasn't real thrilled with the cabbage because it just got totally eaten up with cabbage worms, and I'm like, ugh. So I haven't even tried growing cabbage since. I know there's ways you can keep them away, but so I'll probably eventually do that. I mean, it grows well, but it just, yeah, those things. But the snow peas were something that they were amazing. Snow peas, potatoes. Well, potatoes grow just about anywhere for most people in almost any kind of soil. But yeah, the snow peas, just love it here. My snow peas are about that tall right now. So I have to keep checking them, because they're starting to send out their little grabbers. And so I got to watch them, because when they get tall enough and long enough, I'll be able to kind of start getting them to grab onto the cattle panel, so that they can go up that arched cattle panel, and then they grow up overhead. And I love that. And so that gives them definitely gives them something to climb on. I'll just keep threading them through there as necessary. See, I am trying organic glass corn. The glass jam corn does really good for me. I have yet to find a corn other than that does really good. Well, one year I grew, I think it was called Cherokee White Eagle corn, and that did pretty good. That was one of my first years. I can't remember if I still have any seed from that. I keep saying I should try it again. I remember I was going to try to buy more seed like that, and I couldn't find it. One time I grew the strawberry corn, which is a little short, just to try it, and I only ended up with one or two little tiny ears of corn. Corn is my favorite form of humor. That one kind of went over my head, I think. I don't get it. Let's see. What does this say? I am so happy I made it to live. Work has been so busy. It is good to see you, Trina. Never see you anymore, but because work has been so busy, that would explain why. I've had to watch them after the fact. Yeah, it's not as fun after the fact. Oh, corny. Yeah, I'm slow today, Tyler. I knew he was being funny, but I'm just like, I didn't get it this time. My brain wasn't latching onto that one too well. Oh, something new, something else new we're doing this year. So exciting. It's not really like I'm growing new plants, but it's a new thing that we're doing. So against in the backyard along, the fence that goes, up along the side of the house all the way to the back to the chicken coop. Well, we've got the chicken coop, and then just last year we started a raspberry patch just to the south side of the chicken yard, and it's exploding. I mean, it's thick in there. And so what Patrick did, the rest of the fence line, we had these metal racks that were for firewood that we haven't had firewood in there in a long time. Patrick's been, he had planned on putting firewood back in there again, but mostly what he's been doing, kind of splitting it as he needs it and bringing it over from the other property. Well, he got this idea and I absolutely love it. And he's putting, okay, so you guys know we're on a corner lot. So we have a side yard, we have the front yard, we have the backyard. And the side yard's kind of narrow, especially since we, expanded when we built this room here. We expanded out that way quite a ways, so it made that yard even more narrow. But that's where I got my West Herb garden up against the house. But and then we got our 2 apple trees over there. And then beyond that, we have a parking lot over here in front of Pat's shop, but there's also a parking area there that he made for parking like some of his heavy equipment. Like right now his telehandlers parked out there. But what he's going to do is he's going to set those racks up kind of like a fence along that, where between the parking area for his heavy equipment and the yard itself where the apple trees are, and then put them all across there and then put the firewood in there. So it's going to be a firewood fence. And that will not only give a little more privacy in that side yard, since it's, the street's right there, but also that frees up all that space next to the fence. And that section faces west. So it gets a lot of the sun through most of the day, just not the early morning sun, because it's, it's facing west. But I was watching how the sun hits it. And so since a lot of my blueberry plants up and died, I did make some cuttings, and we'll see how they do. It's my second time trying to do cuttings and doing the root tone and seeing if they'll grow. But we also bought a couple new young blueberry plants the other day and another fig. So, And then, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to expand the raspberries down the fence line a little more because we absolutely adore raspberries. They're like our favorite thing to make pies and jams and turnovers out of. And then I'm going to do like the rest of it is going to be blueberries and figs all the way down. So I'm excited. So we got the 2 blueberries planted. We still got to get the fig that I bought planted. And then I've got a fig that's yet to fruit, but I think it's probably because it's in a big pot. It's usually pretty healthy, but it just never gets fruit. And I'm thinking about taking it out of that big pot on the front deck and moving that back there too and putting it in the ground and see if maybe, I mean, now I have a place for it. So I'm so excited about this idea. So we always seem to find a way to expand our garden just a little more every year. And this is actually going to be quite a bit more without it taking up any more room that was already being taken up by those racks. It's going to be pretty much that same area. So Patrick just tilled that up really good. And yeah, so that's pretty great. Now the expansion of the raspberry section is going to be more narrow than that patch that we put at the end, because it's that patch is as wide as the chicken yard is, but the rest of it's going to have to be more narrow in case we need to keep it narrow, or in case we need to drive a truck back in there, because it does happen. We need to bring the truck back that far. So, but still, it's not taking up any more. That garden area, whole new garden area, it's going to be, I can put a lot in there without it taking up any more space than what was already being taken up by the racks. And then the racks with the firewood in them out here will, it'll look nice and offer some more privacy. And, make it a little bit harder for people to just come help themselves to my apples. Not that I mind sharing. Anyway, because I do share. Seems like I'm always planting seed trays when you come on. Oh, life of an edible plants enthusiast and all edible and medicinal nursery owner. Boy, I tell you, it's like I went down to the nursery. I'm like, it was Friday. We had Jace, and it's like, you know what? We have a car seat. I think Jace would be good. I got to get out of the house. Let's go down to the nursery. I want to see what they have. I wanted to look around and see if I could get any more ideas. Cause I pulled out some old rosemary and lavender plants on the West Herb garden. So I have spaces I can put more stuff. So I'm trying to decide, do I want to fill it in with something else, or do I want to just do more of the same thing? I haven't decided yet. I didn't get any great ideas down there. I was kind of surprised they didn't have more, but I already had it set in my head that I wanted to get some more blueberries and possibly a fig if they had one, which they did. So there's that. I don't need more currants. My 4 currant bushes give me way more than I can ever use in a year. I still have currants from, I think, 2 years ago. Let's see. What else is going on garden related? But anyway, that alone is just exciting. Just being able to expand and get more berries. And, and that can also, I might even have some other stuff I'll move around and make more space in my other gardens. Like I've got a whole bunch of horseradish coming up out front. I'm thinking about digging all of it up and maybe planting something else out there, making more room for vegetables. We'll see. My main garden bed back there where I grow the corn and the potatoes. Well, one of the areas I grow potatoes, which are all coming up, by the way. I'm so happy. Of course, my potatoes always do good, but sometimes you're just like, I hope they do as good as they always do. You know what I mean? You're like, you just kind of assume things are going to do good, and anywhere that's also where I grow my corn. But I got one little patch there that's probably about 6 by 6 foot that I don't know what I'm going to do with this year, because I don't think my corn is I don't think I'll need it for my corn. I'm thinking about doing something else, because I have plenty of space for the corn, but the other the other section, I'm not sure. I grow my zucchini out front because that's where it does best. I've got my pumpkins and my tomatoes all in their own places, my snow peas, my beans. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that section yet. I'm still debating, but it'll be some kind of annual. And then the good news is I was concerned about the borage. I think I shared this the other day. There is borage coming up all over out there. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I was a little worried about that maybe the chickens would have eaten every plant that came up within the whole past year, being allowed to roam free in there for a whole almost 2 years straight, that there wouldn't be any borage left to come up. Well, there is. There's plenty. All that tilling that Patrick did, that worked up any of the borage seed that the chickens didn't dig up themselves. So, yay. I'm thrilled. Planted 2 blackberry bushes next to each other to teach my family the difference between pruning and not pruning. I'd send you some seeds if you want, or small live plants. Are you talking to me? Seeds for what? Is it? Anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I keep thinking some year I need to try some other type of squash, but I'm too nervous to try growing any more squash at the same time. And this year I really want lots of pumpkin, and I don't want them cross-pollinating with anything. The zucchini grows in the front yard. No, I've had that cross-pollinate with the pumpkin and turn out really good. I'm not as worried about that. The pumpkin and the zucchini are about as far apart as they can be on opposite sides of the house. So it's rarely a problem, but it did still happen at some point. I mean, bees, they fly quite a distance. But it certainly won't grow cucumbers and pumpkin at the same time anymore. Even in very different locations, they still cross-pollinate, and it's gross when that happens. And the spaghetti squash and the pumpkin, when they cross-pollinate, that's gross. Yuck. It just terrible tasting. I don't mind so much cutting into the pumpkin and seeing it looks like spaghetti squash rather than like pumpkin. It was the taste that was horrible. Let's see, down here in Northeast Texas, blackberries are a plant you buy at the nursery and plant on purpose. Who'd have thunk? Yeah, I've heard that a lot of people around other areas of the states have to plant blackberries, unlike here where you don't have to. You get, the blackberries that we have here on the property. Well, we have some coming up on there. I don't know where they came from. I have to keep ripping them up. I'm afraid they're probably they look to me like the evergreens, which don't have a lot of flavor, but they're wild out here. So it's like, I got to keep yanking them up. I don't want those in my garden. And even the Himalayans are so very invasive. You don't want them in your garden. That's why we let them grow down there on their own at the other piece of property. The little small wild blackberries aren't so bad, but we got those growing out there too. So we don't need them here. The only reason I have blackberries here at all is that the thornless ones, I want to keep some of them because the original plant was a gift from my brother-in-law several years before he died. And even though I don't like the flavor of them near as much as the others, they get big and beautiful. And the grandbabies, they'll kind of come through the grapevines now. And so we'll just let the grandbabies go out and pick and eat them. So mostly I keep it because it represents my brother-in-law, Patrick's sister's husband, who died. And he died in 2019, I think it was. So anyway, yeah, but the raspberries do grow well here, but it's not like they just grow all over the place wild. And getting the right raspberry and planted in the right place makes a difference. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, out here, blackberries are considered a noxious weed because they'll just overtake a whole area in no time. It's kind of amazing. Aren't the Himalayan black with the hook like thorn? Yeah, they're the ones with the biggest, sharpest thorns. but they also taste the best. Well, I would say they're on par with the smaller wild blackberries, but the evergreens are the ones that don't have the big sharp thorns, and they tend to have smaller leaves and grow closer to the ground. They don't usually get as big, as tall as the Himalayas do. And, they don't hurt as much when you get hooked by those. But they just, to me, they just don't have a lot of flavor. I would say they're kind of similar to the thornless in flavor. So, yeah, the Himalayans and the small wild black, the small ones usually ripen up first. And so last year was the first year we actually were able to get, a kind of a decent amount off of them. I made some jam out of them. I think I mixed them with raspberries. Oh, no, I made turnovers. Maybe I didn't make jam. I made turnovers with the raspberries we got last year, which weren't a lot because we were just getting started on the raspberries again. And then the wild blackberries, Patrick was, when he'd go down to the property and he'd pick a bunch and bring them back. I'm in Oregon, and while most here complain about the blackberries, I protect mine. I'm guessing you're on like us, you're on the west side of Oregon, because Oregon and Washington are similar because of the way the Cascades are. And one side of Oregon, just like one side of Washington, is very hot and dry. And then you have the wet side of Washington is wetter than the wet side of Oregon. I'll say that. But my brothers grew up with my dad, who lived on the Oregon coast. So I would spend summers, Mom would drive me down there so I could spend time with my brothers. And so I'd be down there for a week, couple weeks, and loved it so much. They lived in Walport and Yachats through most of the time. And I loved it. And I love the fact that there was wild strawberries, best tasting strawberries ever. There were huckleberries, there were blackberries, there were thimbleberries. Never cared a whole lot for the salmon berries. And I grew up on the east side of the Cascades where none of that stuff grows wild. And so I remember thinking as a kid, man, I would love to live here where I could just come out and pick huckleberries and, all that stuff whenever I wanted to. And now I do. But then I kind of take it for granted sometimes. Not the blackberries, but I don't get out and pick huckleberries. Usually they come ripe by the time of the year, and they're actually not as, they grow wild and they grow like crazy out here, but they're usually in places that are like not on our own property, or, we'd have to go drive to find. Though my son, I think he has huckleberries growing wild in the woods just behind his house. So there's always that. I don't know if they go out and pick them or not. But yeah, what else? Oh, and then this isn't garden related, but I was talking about barley earlier. So on my last Azure Standard order, I noticed, every now and then I try to look and see if I can find something different to try. And I had never heard of rolled barley or barley flakes. And it looked like oatmeal. I'm like, ooh, I want to try that. So I've made a couple batches of just like an oatmeal, but using the barley flakes, and I really like it. I wouldn't say I necessarily like it better than oatmeal. Sometimes I really like that oat taste, but the barley was definitely a nice little change. They were very similar, but the rolled barley, I would say, had a slightly more chewy flavor or chewy texture than the barley, and the flavor just a little bit different. Or what did I say? Then, okay, the barley flakes, my brain, the barley flakes are a little more chewy than the rolled oats, and the flavor is just a little different. It's nice though. I really like it. It's a nice change. So I'm kind of thinking, like, if somebody could have barley and can't have oats for some reason, maybe they're allergic to oats or whatever, barley might, but they like oatmeal, barley flakes would be a nice option. And then plenty of people really like barley pop. Oh, commonly called beer. Yeah. Tyler, I got that one. I probably wouldn't have got it had you not said beer. Barley pop. Oh yeah. Hops and barley. Um, let's see. What else? There was something else about that. Anyway, I know that both barley and oats have their own special nutritional benefits and can be good for certain health things. Like if I remember correctly, when I did the video on, what does this say? I know they're due to oats. Thanks for sharing that, because my cholesterol numbers came down really good when I ate oatmeal, but it upset my digestive tract. I wonder if the thing with barley is, I believe it has gluten in it where oats do not. So, it'd be kind of one of those things that would just depend on what you needed. But anyway, if I remember correctly, and I did the video a while back about herbs and foods that are good for diabetes. I think barley was one of those grains that is actually good for a diabetic. It was either that or it was the high cholesterol. I'll have to double check. I was thinking it was a diabetes. I think if I remember correctly, barley's helpful, believe it or not, for blood sugar. I'd have to look it up again. It also helps with soaked grains. Sorry, got busy. Yeah. I've done the grain soaking, but found it was really unnecessary for me. But I've had a lot of people say that when they started soaking, or even taking a step further and sprouting their grains, it really did a lot better for their digestive system when they did that. I haven't been so good the last few weeks about my fasting, but I haven't tried popcorn yet, but I'm finding those digestive problems I was having are gone. So that was the trick in healing up my digestion, was doing the fasting 2 days a week. And I need to get back into it though. At least do 1 day a week. But I was doing that because I was hoping it would help heal my gut from whatever was going on in there that was so weird. And it did. So far I'm doing really good. I use barley pop in my tempura batter. I have not made tempura in forever, and it's one of my favorite Japanese dishes. I love tempura. The onions, sweet potatoes are pretty good. Mushrooms, those are some of my favorites to batter and fry up. Love tempura. So I've done no, I haven't done green beans, but I know that I've been, had tempura at a restaurant forever ago. And I think they had green beans in there. Those were decent. I can't remember what else. Tempura plantains are great. I haven't tried that. I've had you're talking about the banana type fruit, right? Not the herb plantain. I've had fried plantain once, because it was when I was visiting with my sister when we went to her friend's house, and he's from Costa Rica. I think he was from Costa Rica, and that was common for them to do the fried plantain. That was pretty good. I've never made it myself, but I haven't done it I don't think it was like a tempura batter that they used. I don't know what they used. That was a long time ago. So, yeah, just it was the fasting that I needed to do. So I still got to try popcorn. Maybe I'll do that today. I keep thinking popcorn sounds good, because that was the last thing that I noticed that my gut still couldn't quite handle. So I'd like to try that again. And then if I still have issues with the popcorn, maybe I'll get more serious about my fasting twice a week, or at least once a week. Get back into that once a week. But anyway, yeah, I think that was kind of it for that. I didn't have any other things. So yeah, I'm just mostly here to chit chat. Yes. And bananas for tempura plantains. I know they're shorter and fatter. I can't remember how, and almost more square shape in a way. They seem like where the banana is more cylindrical, it seemed like the plantains have more of a squarish or corners on them, at least on one side. I enjoy chit chat with people that think like I do. I get it. Yeah. That's why I decided to come on. I'm glad I did. I really didn't expect to see very many people in here. I just didn't know. Figured people would be all out with family, and I'm here anyway. And I thought, but yeah, like I said, I didn't want to do a set topic and then end up getting interrupted or something in the middle of it. So plantains are a different texture and not as sweet. I only had them after they cooked them, so I really didn't know what the flavor of them fresh would be like. Are plantains a little closer, you think, to what the original banana was like? Plantains are starchy and bananas are sweet. Because I know that the bananas we have nowadays, it's like the seeds are really, really tiny. I'm not even sure if you could plant a banana tree out of the seeds you get from the bananas that you buy at the store and eat. But the seeds in like the original bananas, I think the bananas were smaller and the seeds were much bigger. They looked very different. Yeah, on Mother's Day, LOL, just another day, right? Which is another reason it's like, I don't care. If my kids want to do something, that's fine. And I do remember my daughters in law because, they're mothers and they're mothers to my grandbabies. So I do, a card for them and a little gift. But I just, other than that, I don't really care about anybody making a big deal about it for me. I couldn't eat corn for quite a long time, but then tried it once again. It was fine. Yeah, see, Tammy, other corn, like I could have corn grits. I could have I like to get the Mother Earth products, freeze dried organic corn, and add that to my soups. I don't have any problem with that. It was just popcorn that seemed like it was. I'm assuming it was like probably the shell part, the hull. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. That maybe my gut was having a problem with. But it was after I got whatever that was, and I'm sure I got it because my daughter-in-law got some kind of weird stomach thing. And it's just, I had to look it up. I could not find anything about it. But there were several people around, and I ended up in a Facebook group. I thought I was in our own town group, but it was a different town where somebody was asking everyone's like, I got this weird gut flu, stomach flu that's been going on for weeks. And I'm like, that's just not normal. And this was in a completely different place. I don't even know what state it was in. But I just thought it was, with Marlene, she had it for a long, long time. And she, like I said, that 1 week there, she lost 20 pounds in a week because everything was literally going straight through her. She'd be eating and not even be able to finish her meal, and she'd be having to run to the bathroom. Just straight through her. Now, it wasn't that bad for me, but yeah, 20 pounds in a week from being sick with that. That didn't happen to me. It was just every time I'd eat, I'd just feel sick. I'd be bloaty. I don't think I threw up, but I did have the other. And it was so weird. I thought it was never going to, it was slowly getting better, but it was just like, is this ever going to go away? It was going on for weeks. And so was hers. But then when I decided to start doing the fasting twice a week, that was the trick that finally seemed to knock it out. Still don't know what it was. It was really, really weird. I mean, we thought with Marlene at first it was that she had food poisoning, but then it just kept going on and on. Food poisoning, you get food poisoning because she got sick like right after eating out with a friend. Well, that's only going to last for maybe 24 hours tops, and this was going on for weeks. Right, Trina. I much prefer time and memories than anything money could ever buy. I need to get in the habit of reading these out loud because it takes a long time. You can't see the chat, the replay on the chat until after the video on YouTube is done processing on YouTube. And for whatever reason, my lives take like 8 to 12 hours for the videos to finish processing. Then you can see the live chat. You have to make sure you click on show live chat or live chat replay. It's weird. So, yeah. So people who are watching it right after it's over will miss all that. But yeah, she's fine now. But it was just like, well, and on top of that, probably the reason it hit her harder is she's also dealing with GERD. And so she was trying to get to the bottom of that, figuring out what was going on with her when she got that weird stomach bug. So weirdness for sure. Yeah, I think I covered everything in my notes. I just wrote some stuff I wanted to remember to talk about. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about the garden. I know I keep saying that, but when you take a year off, which though it was needed, there was times it was just like, oh man, I miss this and I miss that. But just seeing everything just really, oh my, the thumbnail picture. The thumbnail picture to this live is my quince tree. Now we've had the quince tree and the cherry trees for years, and it seems like I got the first year I actually got a couple of quince off that tree, and then nothing since. It would flower maybe, and then all the flowers. Well, last year all of the stuff out front and a lot of the apples we lost because we got a late frost that killed a lot of the blossoms, and so we didn't. We got some apples, but we didn't get any plums. I don't know that we got any cherries, but maybe a couple. And our cherry trees are still young and small, and they're not super healthy. We're not sure what the deal is. And then the quince tree flowered, and then everything died, as far as that goes. But it is the healthiest looking blossoms I've seen on it. So I might get a lot of quince this year, and I'm going to remember to let them fully ripen before I pick them. I mean, I know they're really tart. I know that. But I clearly picked those other ones because the last time we'd had a quince tree, I was like 14, and I loved them. I'd eat them straight off the tree. When I tried that with the ones off of this, they were like, that feeling you get in your mouth when you bite into a really unripe banana or unripe persimmon, where it just feels like everything in your mouth just dries up, I hate that so much. I can't stand it. And that's what my quince were like. So it could have been I just picked them I expected them to be really sour. But yeah, I might have picked them too young. So if I get quince this year, hopefully I'll remember. Yes, very astringent. It reminds. I always think of the which I never got it when I was a kid, when I was watching the Warner Brother cartoons, and somebody would bite in, or somebody would get alum, which I think is aluminum, right, out of the baking section, and then their mouths go. I'm like, I didn't get what that was. I never got it. And then one day it hit me. It's funny, you look back and you're like, man, and I love persimmons, but not when they're not ripe. They're terrible. You get a good ripe persimmon. Oh, they're so good. But let's see, what else? Yeah, and our plums. So our plum tree flowered. It flowered for the first time since we moved it out here. But then because of the frost, we didn't get any plums on it, which was fine for last year. But this year did it again, and we didn't get a freeze, and it looks like we might get a lot of plums. The plums are still on there. So we'll see. That'll be nice. I might be canning and dehydrating up some plums. I think somebody might be here. Hang on just a minute. Maybe somebody's here. Let me check. Oh, Patrick. Well, it's not my kids. It's Patrick. I thought he went up the mountain. Did he lie to me? I think I saw him pulling out some ice cream out of a bag. It was in paper bags and it's cylindrical. I think he might have decided to spoil me a little bit and got some ice cream. So it's the only time we'll buy some ice cream when it's a special occasion. So yeah, I just heard the dog making that sound like, okay, whoever's here is somebody he knows, because he'll do that when it's Patrick coming home, when it's Ryan and Kayla coming by, or Justin or Marlene. He gets all just so happy. He does that little whiny sound. So it looks like I might have a treat. Yay! So I'm hoping that I don't think it's raining right now, so I might go out after I'm done and plant. Well, I'm going to make a tamale pie for dinner. That was the other thing I was going to talk about. So, I had I've dried chili, homemade chili, and I, cooked it, dried it, anything that was left over, and I did it with the Tar Heel beans. But I realized the other day I haven't done that with kidney beans yet. I did it with plain pinto beans, but I hadn't done it with kidney beans yet, and I like using kidney beans in the tamale pie. Heidi is the right hand, Pat is the left, and Pat's being biblical, not letting the right hand know what the yeah, being sneaky. He's trying to surprise me. Anyway, what was I saying? You messed me up, Tyler. What was I talking about? Gosh, I can't even think what I was talking about. My brain. Oh, the beans. Okay. The kidney beans. Thank you, Trina. Actually, remember just before your comment popped up. But so I had, for the past few days, been cooking up a big batch of kidney beans. So I'm going to make the tamale pie out of those. I need to get them off the wood stove because I've been putting them back and forth. Wood stove, solar oven, depending on what I'm getting most of. And then I'm going to take the rest and dehydrate them up so I can have them next time I want to make because I've canned kidney beans. But the thing about the dehydrating, it takes up less room. And maybe you don't want the whole jar, or maybe you just want a little bit, whatever. So, but it's going to take up less space and vacuum seal them. And that way, all I got to do is just add some water and cook them for a few minutes. And I've got kidney beans. Of course, it's even faster when you pull them, the canned ones out and then just dump them in. But let's see. Wait, did Patrick come in here? I'm not seeing him. Is he in here? Because knowing him, he bought vanilla bean ice cream. That's usually what he usually buys: one vanilla bean ice cream and one French vanilla ice cream. And you guys might be like, well, that's silly. Why just yeah, Tillamook is usually what we get. I mean, Tillamook is just a state down from us anyway. Usually that's what we get. But he'll get one of each. And, they have their own unique flavor. But why vanilla? Isn't that boring? Well, no, I've come to really appreciate vanilla. And I love that we can do anything we want with it. I can make some chocolate syrup. Yeah, might have to make some chocolate syrup today. Put that on there. I can put some homemade jam. We can just eat it plain. We can add some, like, we don't have soda, like the regular soda, but I do have some. I get through, is it the Olipop? Is that what it's called? Through Misfits Market. And they have where it's like the prebiotic. Anyway, it's actually pretty good and it's a lot lower in sugar. But they have the strawberry cream and the root beer, cherry cola, which I don't know if that would taste as good with the ice cream or not, but the strawberry cream and I also have the Izzy brand, whatever that is. We have some of those too. I keep them in. We have a little refrigerator that I keep them in here for when we have family gatherings. It's like, if you guys want a soda, help yourself. But yeah, one thing I learned about vanilla, because Patrick, that was always his favorite. I'm like, why do you always just get vanilla? You got all these other great flavors. Because I can do anything to it I want. And when I first met him, his favorite thing was vanilla or orange floats. So vanilla ice cream and orange soda. And, sometimes a root beer float, but orange was his favorite. like a creamsicle in a cup. Chocolate. I like chocolate. I just don't like a whole lot of chocolate by itself. I usually like it with something. So like vanilla ice cream with chocolate syrup is pretty darn good. And if you like nuts at all, you can throw nuts in there. Patrick usually doesn't like much for nuts unless it's peanuts or almonds. That's about it. He's not big into all the other things. He doesn't like walnuts or pecans at all, and I love them. That's okay. I keep looking at my notes just so I could see that I've already talked about everything. Why do I keep doing that? Habit, I guess. So anyway, yeah, tomorrow I'll be dehydrating up a bunch of kidney beans.
Mom, did you say ice cream?
You bought ice cream, didn't you? I was looking to see who was here and wondering if I needed to stop my show.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary what?
To stop your show.
Oh.
It's just me.
It's just you. You're not even, he's not going to make an appearance. He's just going to hide. Chocolate with brownies, chocolate with... There he is. There he is. So
I did get some almond roca, though.
Almond roca. Well, thank you. That was really nice of you. Thank you.
It is.
You didn't go up to the mountain.
No, the road's closed.
Oh. Well, that's interesting. We're going to have to find out what's going on there.
Yeah. It's closed.
Wow. To our own property? Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to have to find out what the heck's going on. Anyway, so yeah, I was kind of person. I was like, chocolate cake with chocolate frosting is just too much chocolate for me. If it's vanilla cake with chocolate frosting, chocolate cake with vanilla frosting, that's okay. That's somebody made yesterday at the thing a chocolate cake with vanilla frosting. And that was okay. I just had a little sliver. Chocolate avocado mousse. I've made a chocolate avocado pudding before. A long time ago. I was surprised. I think I even tried it as a pie filling. It turned out all right. The chocolate was actually a little too strong, but it wasn't bad. Because I was trying a new type of chocolate cocoa powder at that time, and it was like really strong. It was very, very chocolatey. A little too much chocolate. Yeah, the avocado, you use the avocado as like your cream base, basically. So it's like a dairy free, and then you add your cocoa powder, and I don't know. It was a long time ago that I made it, but it was interesting. It'd make for a healthier pudding. What did we get? Oh, you found a boysenberry. Ooh, looky here.
It's barely alive, though.
It's barely alive. You must have found this at Outfitters.
I did.
Because they didn't have these. Because that was the other berry.
This is the most healthiest one.
Really?
They had.
The most healthiest?
GMO free.
GMO free. Well, that's good. Thank you,
but
Patrick.
They had some that were really healthy looking that didn't say GMO free.
Oh.
So anyway. We'll see if we can resurrect
So we're going to try it. We're going to plant, I guess we're going to plant a boysenberry. Sounds good to me. Because that's the other thing. We're trying to look at some other types of berries that we don't already have or, don't already grow wild everywhere else.
Berries grow good here.
It's pretty close to a blackberry. It's pretty similar. I can't remember what a boysenberry is. Isn't it a cross between a couple different berries, like a blackberry and a raspberry or something? Maybe somebody knows.
Well, anything raspberry is good, so.
Girls and berry. I got it that time, Tyler. Sometimes Tyler's jokes today have been kind of going over my head. I'm sort of slow today. A guy that gets his woman plants. He's a keeper. See, you're a keeper. I guess I better keep you. It's when it shows on the side, it shows boysenberry syrup on pancakes. It's making me hungry. Anyway, I've actually been on here for over an hour anyway. Yeah, raw milk. Maybe it does have milk in it. I can't remember. It was years ago I did that. I was just came across a recipe and thought I'd give it a try. So I don't remember. Maybe it's just the avocado is more of the thickening agent. I don't remember. And a way you can get a little more nutrition into your pie. And some almond roca is kind of a guilty pleasure that I never buy for myself ever. But every now and then Patrick will spoil me and buy me some almond roca. I know it's a lot of people don't like it, but ever since I can remember, it's been one of my very favorites. So, well, that was kind of him. So I got treats and a plant, which is more treats that can make more treats. So plus the fats, yeah, right, of the avocado and more stuff. Let's see what else we got. Is it a it's a donut. All kinds of garbage today. Another guilty pleasure that every once in a great while Patrick will buy me a donut or two just to do something special. Because we don't go out to eat. We don't buy donuts. We don't buy ice cream and stuff. But on special occasions, see, I'm sitting there saying we don't really do anything for Mother's Day, and then maybe he was pulling my leg about going up to the property. Maybe he was just going to the store to see what he can spoil me with. I never asked him to do anything. Anyway, yeah, I got to get going too, Mary. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Besides, that donut sounds really good right now. I'm hungry. Anyway, take care, y'all. God bless. Happy Mother's Day to all your moms.